Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to discuss the input query function in a bit more details. In one of my previous videos I described how we can use input box and input query to ask an input from a user. The difference between input box and input query is that input box will allow you to specify a default value of the input, and the actual input is returned as a return value of input box function, while input query returns true or false, meaning it will return true if user actually entered something and pressed OK, or will return false if user cancelled the input. In order to return the input, input query actually asks us for a parameter where in this case it is a string parameter where it will save the input. So let's demonstrate this. I have a input query that asks for personal details, first name. And as you can see, once clicking this button, it asks me for a first name. If I input something, he will output my input with a show message, right? Or it will output cancelled if I cancelled the input, meaning if it returned true or false, right? Okay, so the thing is that this input query can be a bit more complex function that can allow you to ask for multiple values. In this case, we just ask for a first name, but we can also rewrite this function call in order to ask, like I said, for example, three or more inputs at the same time. So let's try to do it. First, we are going to create an array of strings that will represent the questions that we want to ask, or prompts. Let's say that we ask for 3 prompts, and the first prompt is full name. The second prompt is let's say address, and the third prompt can be password. Okay, and in order to store inputs for full name, address and password, I will also create 3 strings. Okay, so the first string will contain the input for full name, the second string for address, and the last one will contain input for the password. And now we need to modify the input query call itself. So I'm just going to specify here existing array of prompt. Okay, and in order to store those inputs, I will use existing array of input. Okay, and if user existing okay, and if a user inputted something, then I will output input of 0, which is the full name, then address, and then a password. Okay, otherwise cancelled, meaning that user didn't input anything. So when running this application now, when I click this button, and voila, now you can see that input query asks for 3 inputs here, full name, address and password, and again if I click cancel, it will return false, and then we'll get this show message cancelled. Or if I click here and input something, full name, address and password, and clicking OK, and as you can see we have those inputted values showed by using a show message. And well, that's what I wanted to show you today. Also, there is an ability to use a mask in an input query. So for example, here we have a password, and maybe it's not too good, right, to have a visible password here as a plain text, right? So we can specify here, for example, like this, and when running this function, now I can again specify full name, address, and password. But as you can see, user does not see the input, right? If I click OK, I get the actual input stored in a variable. And well, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today in order to maybe to simplify your development, because in many cases it is probably not needed to create your own dialogues, although it's up to you to decide when do you want to actually create something. The advantage of creating a new dialogue is, I think, obvious, because you have a full control over the components on the form. You can make it to look much better than the actual input query dialog, but also it creates additional files of code that need to be compiled, maintained, and so on. Yet again, this input query, like I said, it's very basic, simple, but again can be useful and reduces the code size. So like I said, it's really up to you to decide which approach do you like better. Well, thank you guys, and see you soon.